biggest challenge that I had in Turkey, or like what was challenging me a lot. For 3 months or so I stayed in Gaziantep because I was doing some voluntary work there with Syrian refugees. And Gaziantep depressed me because it's very traditional Turkish and there was really few things going on. So before I went to Turkey, I think I was 22 and I was studying mathematics in Munich. One big reason why I've chosen to study mathematics was it's very easy to find a job as a mathematician. Just studying what I decided to study after school, and I was not really knowing what I want to do with my life. I think it was the biggest reason why I went to Turkey, because I had to do something to figure out what I want, and I think being in Turkey, being in another country, and gave me the chance to figure out what I want. Now I'm doing musical theater, but I think I want more than mathematics. So I always had the idea in my mind of going abroad. Like since I was a little child, I wanted to live abroad. The idea of going to Turkey specifically, I think it first came up when I was on some kind of youth exchange program in Lithuania. So there were 3 Turkish ladies. They really changed the idea that I had of Turkey because they were so not traditional. They had colorful hair, they were going out drinking beers, they were making fun, they were dancing, and they were bringing everyone together to the parties, and I just loved how they were positive and energetic. It's a country that I have actually no idea of, and there are so many Turkish people living in Germany, and you know, there's a lot of prejudice actually in the society, that people think it's very conservative, that women have less rights, you cannot drink alcohol, there's no nightlife. In the end, I always had the idea of I should go there by myself to check it out, and I should not believe what people say. In summer 2015, I really started to think, okay, where do I want to go? I had this idea of Turkey because I met this really amazing Turkish ladies in Lithuania. Like I was checking out all my options, and then I figured out that the nicest options would be either Istanbul or Moscow. I decided that Istanbul is better because I'm more the kind of warm weather type. And also I'm more of an open person, so I thought maybe like a warmer mentality would fit more my person. So when you do Erasmus, the European Union gives you a little bit of money. If I'm remembering it right, it was like 170 euros maybe, 80 euros or so, or was it 120 or something per month from Germany. I got some support from my parents, maybe 200 euros per month, 500 or 600 euros already, and then I was working online. I was giving online math lessons, and that also earned me another 200 euros per month, I think. In Germany, when you don't have any support by your parents, you can still study because there is a support by the government. Like you have to prove that your parents cannot support you, and then the government will support you and you will get money to study. It was no financial crisis for my family that I decided to go to Turkey, because compared to Germany, life in Turkey is quite cheap. If I want to live in Munich, I should pay at least 400 euros for a room in a shared flat. And the room I was staying in Turkey was 900 lira. But in the end of the year, I figured out that I have so much more money left over in the end of the month because of the drop of the lira. Actually, I had a very, very hard time right before coming to Turkey because there was the coup. And for me, it was just like a bad joke. Like everybody was laughing at me because people told me, I told you Turkey's a bad country, you should not go there, and now they have this thing, and I was so stressed, and then I stopped watching news, just doing my exams, and then I went there, even though a lot of people told me I should not, but I went there. Yeah, actually when I came there, it was not a big thing anymore. I think it was 2 weeks after the coup, and everything was already over. I think for me the biggest difference that I experienced in Turkey, like that really surprised me, that was something I totally didn't expect, was how people act towards each other. The thing is, when you make a friend in Turkey, he really becomes a friend, and he wants to call you, like my flatmate Ahmed, he called me a lot, and I was so surprised. Like I would not expect friends of me to call me, because in Germany you don't call, you only call your friends when you want something, when you want maybe to meet or when you want to know something, but you don't call just to ask how you are. And also in terms of the flat. Like in Germany, when you have a shared flat with friends, then you would try to split everything. You would like have a list of, you bought the toilet paper and you bought washing powder for the washing machine, and in the fridge everybody would have like his space. Like in Turkey, it was just like in the flat I was living, just everything was shared and they did not count, and it was very nice. Like it really, you have a much closer actually connection to your friends. And the extremest thing that I experienced that way was, I had a friend, I once visited him, he was Turkish and he was living in Antalya, and he had 2 flatmates. One day he told me that he's paying the whole rent of the flat and his friends, they don't pay. And I was surprised because I saw his friends lying around and not doing anything. But he said, no, it's okay, he can work, they cannot, so he's paying the rent and they are his friends. And this really touched me. Like I felt, oh my god, this would never happen in Germany. Like they would say, no, you cannot pay your rent, then you have to move back to your parents or something. Biggest challenge that I had in Turkey, or like what was challenging me a lot. For 3 months or so I stayed in Gaziantep because I was doing some voluntary work there with Syrian refugees. And Gaziantep depressed me because it's very traditional Turkish, and there was really few things going on. Like in a European city with 1 million inhabitants, there would be bars and there would be like small theaters and there would be like sports clubs, and there would be a lot of options that you can do. Life was very restricted in Gaziantep. I think this was the reason why then after 3 months I went back to Istanbul. Because in Istanbul I can have all of this, there's a lot of things going on. Being in Turkey added a lot to my life. It actually changed my personality a lot, I think, in a lot of ways. I mean, throughout all my life I wanted to actually be a dancer and be a singer, but I never did. I studied mathematics because I thought I cannot do it. And I think the time in Turkey gave me the self-confidence to just do it and to see what happens. So when I came back from Turkey to Germany, it was in the summer, I think maybe in July or so, something. I first wanted to be back in Turkey all the time until I started with the musical theater. Because first I was studying mathematics, I was finishing my degree. But then when I started to get into dancing and I started to get into singing and doing the things like that, I forgot how nice it was in Turkey. Or it didn't reminded me all the time of it. So I will graduate in June or July from my musical school, and then I probably will go to auditions for musical theater productions or maybe movie productions. I mean, if I would have the choice, then I would maybe like to work in London in the West End in a big musical, being there a main role. That would be so cool, because they just do the coolest musicals in London. It's the capital of musicals in Europe. And if I really would have the choice, I would also love to be in a musical in Turkey. But we will see what life brings.